Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at an equation that we're going to be talking about this week. And this equation is called slope-intercept form. And the reason it's called that is because the information in the table will give you both the slope of the line and the y-intercept of the line. So if we take a look at this equation, the letters in red here are the ones we're going to be working with today. The m is always the slope, and the b is always the y-intercept. So to start off, let's talk about what the y-intercept is. So if I have any line on a graph, our line goes on in both directions, the point where that line crosses my y-axis is what I call the y-intercept. So on this line right here, I see that it crosses the axis at this red point, and that red point has a value of +4, so my y-intercept, or my point of B, would be 4. Keeping that in mind, what we're going to do is take a look at some different graphs, and I'm going to ask you to identify the slope and the y-intercept, and then write me an equation in this format with all the correct information. So here's our first graph, and what I'm going to do is take my pen and I'm going to pick out 2 points, and I can actually really pick any 2 points I want. So I'm going to put a dot over here, and I'll put another dot over here. And I'm going to write down the ordered pairs for those 2 points. So this one is at -7, -8. And my other point is at +7, -6. Keeping in mind what we learned about slope, we know that it's the change in y divided by the change in x. And I know that my y coordinates are both the -8 and the -6. And my x coordinates are the -7 and the +7. So to find my slope, I'm going to start off with my change in y. I'm going to choose to do -8 minus -6. And I'm going to divide that by -7 minus 7. So if I look at my numerator, -8 minus -6, we add the opposite here. That gets me a -2. And then -7 minus 7, again I can add the opposite, and that gets me a -14. And like we've previously discussed, anytime you find a slope, you always want to give it in its simplest form so I can reduce that fraction. The 2 negatives cancel out and give me a positive, and 2/14 can reduce to 1/7. So my slope is going to be 1/7. So that will become the m in my equation. The other piece of information I need is my y-intercept. So I'm going to take a look on the y-axis and find where the line crosses through it, which is right here. And I know that that point is at -7. So my y-intercept, or my b, is -7. So my final equation, if I'm looking at y equals mx+b, it's important to remember the y and the x are going to stay a y and an x. We're only going to replace the m and the b. So since the m stands for slope, I'm going to replace m with the slope of 1/7. So I get y equals 1/7 x. And then my y-intercept, which gets replaced for b, is -7, so -7. So this equation fits for this line right here. Let's take a look at one more example. So again, I have to find the slope and I have to find the y-intercept. To find the slope, I'm going to choose 2 points. So I'm going to pick this one And again, you can choose any 2 points off the line. You will get the same answer no matter what. And I'll pick this one. So if I look at my ordered pairs, this top one has coordinates of 5, 3. So I'll write that down. And the second one has an ordered pair of 2, negative 3. To find the slope, I do the difference in y divided by the difference in x. So my y coordinates are 3 minus negative 3. And then my x is 5 minus 2. So looking in the numerator, 3 minus negative 3. If I add the opposite, I get 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. And I can simplify this. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I know that the slope, or m, is 2. For my y-intercept, I'm looking to see where the line crosses the y-axis, and I see that happens right over here, which falls at negative 7. So the y-intercept, or b, has a value of negative 7. So if I want to write my equation, going back to y equals mx plus b, again, when you write your equation, the y stays a y, the x stays an x. We are only replacing m and b. My slope, which we found to be 2, goes in for m. And you can either write it as a whole number 2, or you could put it as a fraction over 1, whichever you prefer. We put that next to x, and then since my y-intercept is a negative 7, b is a negative 7.